Okay, welcome back. It's been about week and a half, 2 weeks since we've recorded. The Knicks season is over, so we're taking a little bit of a break from that. We'll have a couple off-season eps here and there, but we're taking a long break from the Knicks. That season's over, and the Yankees, we took a bit of a break after the Seattle series. We missed that one, but we're back. We're back, and we haven't done a video episode in a while. I had some problems technically, but we fixed that. We're back here on the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Appreciate you all tuning in. Episode 688 of the show. Let's get to it. BD4. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Let's get to it.
Anthony for three. Bang! That one goes down, and the game is tied.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
The Yankees are champions of baseball. Shaking and baking. Right here on the neophyte.
You guys trying to close the show.
She was doing a great job of feeding.
That is it.
It's over.
Coming to the Knicks! Don't you regret not coming to the Knicks!
Game over. World Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
All right. Let's go. Welcome to the show, everybody. Episode 688 of the podcast. It feels like it's been a bit. You know, we took a break for a series, and the last few Yankees episodes, when we did record, were audio only, but we're back. We had technical difficulties. We are back. And the Yankees just continued to win. That's one thing that has not changed. They just took another series, 2 out of 3. And this is following a series that looked grim to begin in against Seattle, where they dropped the first 2, but then they managed to finish that series by splitting it, taking the next 2. Cap tips for that series, I handed it out to Judge, Luis Heel, and Victor Gonzalez. That was for the Seattle series. Hopefully, the dog barking in the background. Hopefully the mic's not picking that up, or else we got problems. But it is Memorial Day. It is a rainy day, Monday the 27th. Happy Memorial Day. Obviously, many thanks go out to those who served and did not make it out. That's what Memorial Day is. A lot of people don't really know the difference, between Memorial Day and Veterans Day, and today is about those who sacrificed and did not make it back home. So thoughts, prayers, and hearts go out to all their families. But thank you very much to those who did serve and replaced your lives so that others, me, you, and those listening can live. So I have to get the Memorial Day hat. It's not my favorite this year. I don't like it. I prefer this one. This is last year's. This might be from 2 years ago. I think the one I have up here, if you're watching the video format, is from last year's Armed Forces, and they also wore that on Memorial Day. This year's, I don't know. It's not my favorite, but maybe it'll grow on me. I'm still probably going to end up getting it because I like collecting those. I've been doing that since I was a kid. I have all of them over here. Yes, let's talk about this. The Yanks win 2 out of 3 in San Diego to begin this West Coast trip. It'll be the Padres, Angels, and Giants. Padres now out of the way. Before we begin talking about this series, some in-house stuff, injury stuff. Garrett Cole nothing significant there, just continues to progress positively, and he's on his way back. Knock on wood that things continue to go well there. While we're on the topic of pitchers, Nick Birdie is back on the DL with, I think, the same hip injury. So that's a little concerning. John Birdie, also, I think it was in this series, the beginning of this series, maybe it was the end of the Seattle series, I don't remember, but suffered a high-grade calf injury. It was a non-contact injury, so it looked like it could have been a lot worse, but he's still going to be on the shelf for a long time. So he's going to miss significant time. But DJ LeMahieu will be back tomorrow, Tuesday, against the Angels. That's probably going to be the move where they send down Kevin Smith, who, will be sent down. Ian Hamilton was on the COVID DL, probably one of those phantom stints because nobody's going on the COVID DL these days. It's probably just because they want to give him some rest. Arm fatigue, I'm sure. He hasn't been the same this year. He's back Tuesday. So tomorrow he'll be back, and I'm sure that's the move where Gomez will be sent down from the bullpen. And then Jason Dominguez hit a home run yesterday with Somerset. He's been hitting well in his rehab. And again, he will remain with the team even after his rehab concludes. He's going to be with AAA, not Somerset, but after he's with Somerset, he'll be with AAA and he'll remain there for a little bit. I mean, I'm hoping that sometime in the second half we see Dominguez. It's kind of hard to say how, but injuries happen, and I would love for him to be on the October roster, so I'd like to see him out there for the Yankees, but we'll see. And that's your injury stuff. I think we'll get right into this series now. Yankees-Padres, where the Yankees take 2 out of 3. Let's do that when we return from our first break here on episode 688 of BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. This episode's sponsored by Spotify for podcasters. Thank you for tuning in. Let's get right into it as soon as we return from our break. Be back in a few.
Hey there, thanks for listening in so far. If you enjoy this episode, please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much. You can follow us on social media as well. On Instagram, we're at BD4Pod and at Rob J. Carbone. On X, we're at BD4Pod and at RJCBD4. And on Facebook, we're BD4.
Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to episode 688 of the podcast. The Yanks win 2 in San Diego against the Padres. 2 out of 3. Go to the Yankees. Took the first 2. Dropped yesterday's game. 1 bad inning, pitching-wise. But the first game of the set, the Yankees took that 8-0. Hold on a second. Let me get this out of the way. There we go. The Yankees took the first game of the set, 8-0, over the Padres. It was the lefty Carlos Rodon going up against the right-handed veteran Yu Darvish. And the Yankees did their damn thing by scoring 8 runs, 10 hits, 6 extra base hits, 2 walks, only 7 strikeouts, and they were 1 for 5 in scoring position. Yeah, they hammered Darvish, man. In the top of the first inning, Volpe starts off the game with a leadoff triple. And then Aaron Judge eventually gets the sac fly to bring him home. It's 1-0. Top 3. You get the best inning, the best half inning of the season for the Yankees. This was one of the most fun times of the early on here. I think we're about a third of the way through, a little more than that. This has definitely been my favorite inning. This was the inning where Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, and Giancarlo Stanton each homer. All 3 of those home runs coming off of you. And it's 5-0 after that. Top of the 4, Glaber joins the party. He hits a home run to make it 7-zip. And then top 9, you get the Soto double. And then Volpe scores later on the wild pitch. 8-0 Yankees. Darvish, it was impressive to me. He only goes 5 2/3, and he lets up 7 runs. They scored 7 on Yu Darvish. Super impressive. This is a guy who is a solid starting pitcher. He's been one his entire career. He was having a really good start to the season. He entered this game with a 2.08 ERA and currently was on a 25-inning scoreless streak. You know, I think he was coming off a start where he shut down a very potent Dodger lineup. He was looking really good entering this game, and the Yankees made him look awful. I mean, his body language out there, you could just see that's the body language of a pitcher who has to face this Yankee lineup. There were talks on Twitter after the game, was he tipping his pitches? What was San Diego catcher tipping? You know, kind of giving it away. But regardless, the Yankees got to him, you know, and they scored 8 runs on him. Soto and Wells lead the Yankees with 2 for 4 outings. And then on the flip side, Carlos Rodon, you know, outdueling Yu Darvish with 6 shutout innings, 3 hits, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, no home runs, 93 pitches, and he gets the win. So he didn't have the strikeout stuff. But both of the strikeouts that he picked up came off of his slider. And in this game, he was 54 four-seamers. He threw 28 slide, 5 changeup, 5 curve, and 1 cutter. So he abandoned the cut fastball in this game, which is interesting. That's usually his tertiary pitch, his go-to third pitch. But he was getting a lot of soft contact with his fastball-slider combo, so that was working and helped him get to 6 innings, no runs. In the bullpen in this game, Santana and Gomez combined for 3 innings, no runs. Santana got the 7th and 8th. Gomez got the 9th. Really, really good pitching by the Yankees. Luis Arias was held to 0 for 4 in this game. When you can shut down the modern-day hit king, it's always a good thing. So that was game 1 of the series where the Yankees won 8-0. Game 2 of the series, I got to take this off again. Game 2 of the series, give me 1 second. The Yankees took this one 4-1. And this was the righty Marcus Stroman going up against a guy I wanted in the offseason, right-hander Dylan Cease. But again, the Yankees did their jobs on Cease. 4 runs on the game on 9 hits. 1 walk, 13 strikeouts. They were 2 for 7 in scoring position. They got to Cease early. Top of the first, you get the Anthony Volpe leadoff base hit. And then you got the Aaron Judge 1-out, 2-run home run to make it 2-0. Top of the 4th inning, Judge with a leadoff double. Verdugo singles, so it's 1st and 3rd. Stanton grounds out, but that pushes both runners to 2nd and 3rd, or that pushes Verdugo to 2nd to make it 2nd and 3rd with 1 out for Rizzo. And then Rizzo puts the bat on the ball, picks up an RBI base hit to right field. 3-0 Yankees. You get the mound visit, and then following the mound visit, the Gleyber Torres sac fly to center field makes it 4-0 on Cease. The Yankee offense produced 3 multi-hit games. Judge was 2 for 4 with a double, home run, couple RBIs. Volpe 2 for 5, Verdugo 2 for 4. This was a game where the home plate umpiring was pretty brutal. From what I heard, I was kind of following this game on my phone. I had a buddy over. We were watching the NBA game on the big screen. I was watching Boston hammer the Pacers, which is just fucking awesome. That loser Hick Nation. Ugh. I hate that fan base, and it feels so good to see them go down 3-0 when they play a team that's actually healthy. Anyway, oh man. Yeah, so there I heard the umpiring was pretty bad. Soto got a couple tough calls and a few other in there. But that was it for the Yankee offense. Stroman pitched in this game. We'll get to him later. The bullpen goes 3 innings after Stroman lets up 1 run, 2 strikeouts. Luke Weaver allows a solo home run to Tatis in the 8th. Ends up going 2 innings, and then Holmes pitches the 9th inning, gets the save. And that's game 2, where once again the Yankees win 4-1. Game 3 of this series, the Yankees took it, or they lost. The Yankees lost this one 5-2 to the Padres. You had Schmidt going up against Musgrove, top of the 6th. That was your first run. Soto rips an RBI double in the gap, and that was off of Musgrove. It makes it 1-0 Yankees. Bottom 6, Clark Schmidt kind of loses steam a little bit. Some poor defense in the inning. The bullpen was bad. You get the Glaber E4, the Rizzo E3. It was an ugly inning. Gonzalez and Santana weren't good. And you look up at the end of the inning, and it's all of a sudden 4-1 Padres. Bottom 7, Ferguson, also bad. Lets up the RBI double to Machado. It's 5-2. I was kind of hoping for Canely. I thought Canely should have gotten that 6th inning there after Clark was pulled. I don't know what Boone said post-game, but I would imagine he said something like it wasn't his lane, because Boone loves lanes. But I guess it wasn't his lane. Tommy Canely should have been used there, in my opinion. Top 9th, you had the Alex Verdugo home run to try and salvage it, but that was not enough, as the Yankees would lose 5-2. Or 5... Was it 5-2? I don't remember. They lose. Clark Schmidt, 5+, 2 runs, 1 of them earned, 3 walks, 3 hits, a hit batter, 6 strikeouts, took the loss. Put some traffic on the bases. So this was another one for Clark Schmidt, 2 in a row now where he's kind of losing it as he gets to that 3rd time through the order. It's been a recurring thing from him. Better this year, but last 2 starts kind of back in that old habit. And the bats were quiet. Who would have thought that the Yankees would hit Yu Darvish, hit Dylan Cease, but they can't hit Joe Musgrove in his 6-something ERA. Joe Musgrove, I know he's had a bad year. He's a good pitcher who I expect to turn it around, and he had good stuff on the day. So you got to tip your cap to him. And speaking of, I'm going to tip my cap to Marcus Stroman. We'll start off by tipping our caps to him, because I thought he was the best starting pitcher of this series. Marcus Stroman, I'm tipping my cap to him for the 4th time this season, because in Game 2, I thought he was excellent. 6 innings, no runs, 3 hits, a walk, a hit batter, 5 strikeouts, no home runs allowed, threw 91 pitches and picked up the win. He was throwing strikes. He's been throwing strikes more. He's cut down on the walks lately, only 1 walk in each of his last 2 starts. That's helping him go deeper into games. And so when you combine the strike throwing with the movement and the location, the command, you're going to get outings like this. He had a couple of impressive strikeouts to Tatis, where he went to the cutter on him. He went to the 4-seamer on him. He had a couple of nice strikeouts with the splitter. Was just getting some soft contact. The only trouble he got into was in the 4th inning, where he lets up the leadoff triple to Cronenworth down the line. But he escaped that with some soft contact, couple pop-ups, flyouts to Machado, Peralta, Merrill, and some help from Alex Verdugo. Just the threat of Alex Verdugo's accurate arm prevented that sac fly RBI in the inning. But yeah, Stroman continues to be very good, man. He's been everything the Yankees are asking for and more. And you look at this Yankees rotation, man. It's like it's not. I think the most surprising parts of it aren't Stroman, because he's got a track record of being good. I always thought that noise about him in New York City, the social media drama, was garbage. Never really cared about that. I'm not surprised that he's doing what he's doing. I'm not surprised that Rodon's doing what he's doing, because he too has a track record of being a good pitcher. The Yankees signed him because they knew he had that in him. I think the most surprising parts of the rotation have been the other 2 guys, and Cortez too, pitching like I expected. But the other 2 guys, the 2 former top prospects in this system, Clark Schmidt and Luis Hill. And they've arguably been the 2 best starters on the team. Like, Clark Schmidt's been great. going back to him, he's got a 2.52 ERA. And again, his last 2 starts, they've been less than stellar. 5 innings, 2 runs against both Seattle and the Padres. But, like, take a second and realize what we just said. Like, that's the expectation is now for him to be better than that. That was your average Clark Schmidt start last season. Now he goes 5 innings, 2 runs. We're saying, well, he can be better because we've seen him be better this year. So he's been great. You look at Luis Heel. I mean, that guy is electric. He's fun. The fastball confidence is just, I mean, he's untouchable. You can't touch the guy. He does not allow hits. He leads the Yankees with a 2.11 ERA, Yankee starters. He was supposed to be Garrett Cole's replacement, who you just get by with. You know? A young pitcher who is probably going to struggle and go through ups and downs. He's been flawless the last couple of weeks. Flawless. Those 2 guys are the most surprising to me because they've been the 2 best guys out there. You know, and it's a rotation that, again, in the offseason, in the preseason, I had hammered the whole concept of low floor, high upside. Right? And right now you're seeing the upside of it. Are they going to regress a little bit and have some? Yeah, I don't think you're going to go through the entire season with 4/5 of these starters posting a sub-3. But again, Garrett Cole hasn't returned yet, people. Garrett Cole has not thrown a single pitch for the Yankees this year. And you got guys like Rodon who've been awesome. You know, Stroman, again, as advertised and more. You know, I said in the offseason that he would have a career type season with the Yankees. I thought he'd be better than he's been. And so far he's doing that. You know, so you combine the elite pitching with the elite hitting that we're getting right now. That is how you have success in October. You know, you have a balance, right? To hell with all the cliches. There are a lot of cliches in baseball, probably more than any other sport. I've always said that a balanced roster wins a championship. You could tell me pitching wins chips, like that's a thing. Defense wins championships. This wins. I just think having a good balance is going to help you win a title. And the Yankees, this is a team that has a balance. It is the first time since 2009. Maybe I felt a little bit this way when they won 103 games, I think in 2021. You know, but like this is really, even that year, they didn't have this type of balance. This is a team I feel like that has a little bit of everything. You know, now the bullpen is probably the weak point right now. It's a little worrisome. We'll talk about that later too. At the end of the day, they have the number 1 ERA in baseball. And at the end of the day, the Yankees usually figure out their bullpen with Matt Blake, with Brian Cashman. You got returning arms coming back, right? Hamilton, F. Ross, Trevino eventually. You got the trade deadline. You know they'll make some moves. 6-man rotation is probably not going to happen, so you'll probably move one of these starters in there. And I'll continue to say, for as bad as they've been, for as mediocre as some of these guys have been in the bullpen, like Ferguson and Gonzalez, like they have track records, both of them, of being decent at worst. But it's a balanced team because your bullpen's doing fine. Your rotation has upside with Cole on the comeback. And you look at this batting lineup, this offense is, they've got the perfect balance itself. They've got this perfect lefty-righty order that they can keep going to. And when Dominguez comes back, and I expect him once again to be back at some point, there's your switch hitter. But that's such a tough lineup to face as a pitcher. You have to navigate left, right every time. They are tough outs. They are grinding out at-bats. They're making you throw pitches. The walks. They're now a high batting average team. They're a low strikeout team. They're hitting for power. The order that they have these guys set up in is, I think Boone has done, or the nerds, whoever puts this order together, the consistency of it every day. Guys are playing every day. Guys are in the same spots every day. In the first inning, you know you're getting Volpe, Soto, Judge. That's a perfect recipe. Volpe gets on, maybe gets into scoring position for Soto, and then him and Judge do their thing. The middle of the order pop. You got Verdugo, Stanton, Rizzo, 4, 5, 6. Right? You're either getting to them with guys on base or you're getting to them to start the second inning. The bottom of the order has even been productive. Oswaldo Cabrera, both of the catchers. Now you got DJ coming back. Which, if there's one concern about this lineup that really I haven't been able to shake, just a question in the back of my mind. It's, hold on one second here. I really should fix this. I'm a little concerned about the veteran production, if that's going to be sustainable. Just if the veterans are going to continue to start to hit even, because Anthony Rizzo is one of the vets who's not producing. He's not hitting, There's not really anything that Anthony Rizzo is doing for most of this season. He hasn't really done anything that stands out. I can say that Stanton's been doing, one thing that stands out. Anthony Rizzo doesn't have that pop. He's only slugging .378. 76% of his hits have been base hits, singles. And that's just not why we have him. He's not slugging versus fastballs. He used to crush fastballs into the right field seats. And he's now a singles hitter with a low batting average, low on base percentage, and a low walk rate. So that's just the epitome of unproductive. So I don't know if it's still the whole head injury since the Tatis injury incident last year. Is that still bothering him? Because he did have another slip up where he, struggled to pick up a soft grounder in game 3. Is he just washed up? Because you go to his Baseball Savant page, and it's pretty abysmal. Like, it's not a pretty sight. If you're a nerd who likes that stuff, you don't want to go to his page because everything there is blue outside of his strikeout and whiff rates. And a lot of the blue that you're seeing is like 20 to 30th percentile numbers. And even worse. Like, you're looking at bat speed, blue. Exit velo, blue. Barrel percentage. All of his expected numbers, his hard hit percentages, sweet spot, the walks, the chase rate. The defensive numbers haven't been good either. That's unlike Rizzo. The base running numbers have not been, he's not a fast guy, but he's a good base runner usually. That statistically says he's not been great. The eye test is matching it. So I'm a little concerned about that. I am a guy who's been pro Josh Bell for a little bit now. I would like to make a trade for Josh Bell. What's he doing on Miami? But that's a conversation for a different day. Get a switch hitter in here, power. And then, you look at the other veterans like Stanton. Can Stanton keep this up? Now he came into camp in much better shape, right? Maybe a little fuel from the Cashman comments, and he's looked good this year. But at the same time, it's hard to forget totally the last couple of seasons, right? He is older. He's obviously had the injury problems, and he's gotten off to hot starts before that didn't last. I think it was 2 years ago where he got off to that very good start, got hurt, was never the same. You just hope he can stay healthy. Now in this series, I'm not worried about his production in this series because after the home run in game 1, he proceeded to go 0 for 10 with 6 strikeouts the rest of the way. I don't care. He's streaky. We know that. But I'm just keeping in mind, that we've gotten lucky with his health so far. Entering the season, all I wanted was 800 OPS or close to an 800 OPS and health. So hopefully he keeps healthy and he continues to produce enough. And then DJ LeMahieu, another veteran, he's now on the comeback. He'll be back tomorrow. I haven't been confident in him in years. I don't see how I could be any more confident than. I'm any less confident, I should say, because he's just not been productive. The production's not there, and it hasn't been for a little bit. The foot injury has been lingering. He's only older. Now you're adding one more older, slower veteran to this lineup. It's a little concerning. Not to mention he's another right-handed bat. So now you're putting him in there, and I expect him to probably be in the bottom of the order because the Yankees want to keep doing left, right, which means you're going to be stacking righties 7, 8, 9, right? And DJ is going to be replacing Oswaldo and Birdie. That platoon is no more. So you're replacing Oswaldo, and doing that, you're losing a little bit of youth. You're losing that switch bat. You're losing that speed and base running, and you're losing the run production. You know, he had 20 RBIs. He was on a pace of, I think, a 72 RBI pace. So, you know, just I'm a little concerned about the veteran production. There's a lot of veterans, as much as there is a good amount of youth. I question, will we look back at some point and question Cashman not getting one more bat? You know, Matt Chapman at third base. He's got a 115 OPS plus this year. He's obviously an elite third baseman. Gio Urshela was a guy who signed in Detroit for pennies. At the very least, he's a guy who can hit for average at the bottom of the order. Can play good third base. But I think the X factor to this order, to this batting order, is going to be Giancarlo Stanton. You know, he's the guy who is going to take this lineup to the next level. You know, Judge and Soto is one thing, and I think all of us expected Judge and Soto to be the storyline coming into the season. But it's been Judge and Soto and Stanton, and that's completely different, right? My expectation was, with Judge and Soto at the helm, this could be a top 7 offense. Well, if Stanton keeps doing this will be the number 1 offense that maybe breaks home run records, because I think I saw the stat, the 3 of them combined have more home runs than 4 teams. So if you get Stanton on top of Judge and Soto, that changes so many things. It changes how you have to pitch to this team. It changes how you approach them with your bullpen. It helps the Yankees get to bullpens earlier by knocking guys like Darvish out before he completes 6. It's a lethal trio if you get your X factor, Giancarlo Stanton, continuing to produce. So that to me is key. But Aaron Judge being back and hitting again is just a beautiful thing to see. And that's why I'm going to hand him his 5th salute of the season. I'm tipping my cap to Aaron Judge for the 5th time this year. Now tied with Juan Soto for first among the position players. Aaron Judge in this series, 333, 1250 OPS, a double, 2 homers, 4 RBIs. But Aaron Judge has been so hot for so long that now his numbers on the season look like that slump never even happened. He's batting .279 that's a mistake on the screen there. The 1039 OPS, 18 doubles, 17 home runs, 39 RBIs, 43 walks, 55 games played. It's the extra base hits, it's the doubles. Judge is hitting a ton of doubles this year, like Freddie Freeman, along with the Aaron Judge home runs. He's never usually been a doubles guy. He isn't ever. I don't think he ever hit 30 doubles in a season. He's on pace to hit 50. I mean, he's hitting hard line drives. Even the hit he had today should have been his 19th, or yesterday should have been his 19th double, but he hit it too hard. It bounced up against the wall. 17 homers, 18 doubles on the year. He leads the league in doubles. He is one behind, I think, Henderson in home runs. I expect that to change. He'll probably lead the league again as long as he's healthy. He's been unbelievable, and this is now the 5th time we're tipping our cap to Judge already, which is hilarious given that he was so bad. in the month of April. So Aaron Judge, I tip my cap to you. And we'll wrap up these cap tips with Clay Holmes. You know, I didn't know who to give it to among the bullpen because I didn't like everybody else this series, but Clay Holmes did a solid job in Game 2 against the Padres on the 25th. Pitched an inning, struck out a batter, got the save. 7 pitches were needed. 6 of them he threw for strikes. So Clay Holmes gets my tip of the cap. And that's now 2 rebound outings in a row since that Seattle debacle, which was funny because the day of that game before Clay Holmes came in, I was talking to my buddy earlier in the day. I was like, you know what? Clay Holmes is in conversation for Cy Young with that 0.0 ERA. Oh, that's over. But no, he bounced back nicely. His slider continues to be his best weapon this year. And now Clay Holmes leads the Yankees with 7 salutes. That's his 7th time that I'm tipping my cap to him. I want to go to the infield and talk a little bit about the Yankees infield, the middle infield in particular, because I think we're getting some production there recently. You know, last year it was more Gleyber Torres producing than Volpe. This year it's been more Volpe than Gleyber, a lot more Volpe. And Anthony Volpe is on a 19-game hitting streak now. That's a big number. It's a noticeable figure now. He's at 19. That's a real hit streak. Knock on wood. On the year, he's batting .282 with a .791 OPS. Absolutely, you take that. During this hit streak, though, in these 19 games, he's batting .333 with a .918 OPS, 10 RBIs, 9 extra base hits, 4 stolen bases. He's picking up a lot of innings, a lot of hits in the first inning during this streak. He's getting out of the way, which is helping the Yankees get on the board early. They've been doing that a lot lately. That's been one of my, I love when the Yankees score in the first inning. It just increases their percentage of winning the game. And they're not a lot of, it's not just one-hit games either. Like early on, maybe, but he's had 3 multi-hit games in his last 5. He's had 7 multi-hit games during this 19-game hit streak. And he continues to just be the perfect traditional leadoff hitter. He is the anti-nerd this year. Anthony Volpe has been the anti-nerd shortstop for the Yankees. He's flattened out that swing. It's more level, so he's got a lower launch angle. The 14-degree launch angle he had last year, gone. It's 8 degrees this year. It's much flatter. He's focusing on line drives, and he's getting a lot of infield hits. He's getting a lot of hits because of his speed, right? He's stealing bases, picking up a lot of singles, a lot of soft contact hits. So you go on his baseball savant, it's all blue, like a lot of blue. So he's anti-nerd, and I love it that he's producing and he's having a good year despite the nerds saying that you have to have a red savant page for you to be a good player consistently. But he's like, he's a traditional leadoff bat. It's everything I want. I would like for him to walk a little bit more, but if he's going to replace walks with more hits, I'm fine. And remember, people didn't want Anthony Volpe leading off when they made that change. A lot of people wanted Gleyber Torres to stay there. But Volpe's been the perfect leadoff bat. And the good thing is that Boone said that when DJ returns tomorrow, Volpe's going to remain at leadoff. So you're getting production from that part of the infield. And then the other part of the middle infield, Gleyber Torres may be coming around lately. In his last 14 games, do what you want with this, but he's batting .289, 872 OPS, 7 extra base hits, 9 RBIs, 4 walks. The key with him has always been he needs to focus on contact, putting it in play, picking up those base hits to right field. O'Neill talks about this all the time, so much to where we get tired of the same conversation sometimes. I do. But, it's true. You watch guys like Soto and Judge, their approach is the other way. Soto's looking to hit the ball to left field. Judge is looking to hit the ball as a righty to right field. Go the other way. When you approach the plate with an opposite field approach, you have the whole field now as an option. When you approach the plate with a pull side approach, there's less field to use because you're limiting yourself. So Gleyber Torres, I thought he's done better bringing that approach. I would still like for him to go to the leg kick less. He's going to the high leg kick a little more, which has helped with his timing during this stretch. Maybe just consistent mechanics is what we need, right? But he's keeping his leg in the air until the release of the pitcher. Earlier in the season, it was more of an inconsistent approach with his mechanics. Sometimes he would go to that leg kick with 2 strikes, the toe tap, sometimes not. Sometimes when he was ahead in the count, he'd go to it, sometimes not. So maybe he just needs to be more consistent with his approach, with what he does, and not just randomly ditch it and go back to it. I never liked it. I never thought that Gleyber Torres was a guy that needs to sell out for power. I thought he has enough power in his lower base. Plus, playing at Yankee Stadium, I think he'll hit home runs if he just goes up there with a clean approach. He doesn't need to try and swing too hard. He doesn't need to focus on pop. Because that leads to a little more strikeouts. But at the end of the day, I feel like the most balanced Gleyber Torres is when he goes back to basic mechanics. But if he's just going to remain consistent with his mechanics, even if he consistently goes to the leg kick, whatever, if it produces. But yeah, the middle infield is hitting right now, both of them together. It would be nice if that continued to happen. Get Gleyber back to what Gleyber has been in the past. Now you're talking about 2 middle infielders with power, but the 2 middle infielders who you could call contact hitters. Right? But it's good to see Gleyber increase his trade value. That's the one thing I think I'm done with him. At the end of the day, he could do anything, and I just want him to up his value, build that value. I'm kind of over him overall because he's inconsistent at the plate and he can't field. You saw that again this series. He can't run. You also saw that too. He got picked off. He's terrible on the bases. I would rather have a guy like Oswald Peraza get a shot. Do you package Gleyber Torres for a relief pitcher? Maybe you call up Vivas. But yeah, maybe Gleyber's in a deal for a reliever because this bullpen does need some help. They need more. We need more from this Yankee pen. I'm not sure that, it's going to continue to be the number 1 bullpen in ERA if they don't do anything. Because these lefties the Yankees have in there are just not cutting it. This stuff is underwhelming. I'm not impressed with Gonzalez's stuff. I think he's been meh. Ferguson, that high cutter at 93, 94 is not cutting it. I don't have much confidence when those guys come in. There's not much left-handed pitching talent in the system either. And it's like Weaver's been your elite reliever. He's been bad lately, but it's scary. I expect him to be fine, but it is a little scary that Luke Weaver is your best relief pitcher before you get to Clay Holmes. That's a guy who can easily regress because he's been one of those Cashman Blake projects that have turned out so far. But he could easily just go back to being who he was. That changeup's working right now. The fastball's been higher velo. But outside Luke Weaver, nobody else is really standing out. Innings 6 to 8. Right? So I think the Yankees are going to need to make moves eventually. Take a look at the bullpen market and look for a guy who is a strikeout artist, preferably a left-handed pitcher. And I hate to be that guy, but if you want a lefty who misses bats, Josh Hader was kind of the perfect guy to go after. He's been turning it around recently too. But, should they have let Peralta walk so easily as they did? I don't know. I don't want to be that guy, but they're going to have to, and I expect them to make a move. I don't know who. Miami's got obviously good young pitching over there. Maybe it's Cronin, though I think he's a righty. But Tanner Scott, that's an ideal lefty with strikeout stuff. Maybe they move him. 29-year-old. Andrew Nardi was really good last year. He's been bad this year. He was bad as a rookie, so he's had some inconsistent results, but he is also a lefty with some strikeout stuff. Obviously, the White Sox are going to be selling off maybe Jared Schuster. Is that how you pronounce the kid's name? 25-year-old lefty. Doesn't strike a ton of batters out. Maybe Blake can help with that. But there aren't many names at the moment. Maybe we'll hear some more noise as we get closer to the deadline. But, maybe it's, again, because I don't think they're going to go to a 6-man. Maybe it's one of the Yankee starters that go to the bullpen. Maybe you want your left-handed pitcher. Maybe it's Nestor Cortez. He's leading in innings, I think, in the American League. But, maybe that's the reason you push him there, because you're worried about his workload and his health. With Garrett Cole coming back, maybe you tell Nestor, hey, we think your stuff's going to play up in this bullpen role. Maybe it'll lead to a little bit more velocity, a little more strikeouts. You're a versatile lefty. You've pitched out of the bullpen before. Maybe it's Luis Hill, right? That's probably your most realistic starter to go to the bullpen when Cole returns. And he is a righty, but he's a strikeout artist at the end of the day. He can get lefties and righties out with that unhittable fastball. And his changeup's been filthy. So I think those are in-house solutions, but I do expect them to make some trades as well. And that's it, folks. We got the Anaheim Angels. The Yankees go to Anaheim next to face the Los Angeles Angels, continuing this West Coast trip. This is the middle set. The Angels are a terrible baseball team. They're awful. They've been even more bad of late. They're in last place in a very bad AL West division at 20-33 overall. This is a 3-game series. Each game is 9:40 p.m. I prefer the late games because I work in the afternoon tonight. Tuesday, it's going to be Nestor Cortez versus Griffin Canning, who is a right-handed pitcher with a 5.05 ERA. He's been a little better this month in May. It's coming off a very strong start against Houston. Wednesday, it's Luis Hill versus Anderson. Anderson's probably been the best starting pitcher for the Angels. Veteran lefty. He's an innings eater. He's coming off a super impressive win in Houston where he won 8 innings, allowed just 1 run, struck out, 6. Don't have it in front of me. But, and then Thursday, it's Carlos Rodon versus Sandoval. 2 lefties going up against each other. Sandoval's also been bad for the Angels. So, Angels aren't a good team. This is a team who I expect the Yankees to sweep. Can I say that? Can you expect a sweep? I don't know. I would like it. We'll see. And folks, that's it. So we'll head to break one last time. Get back. Wrap it up with our trivia when we get back. Stay with us. Be right there.
You can follow us on social media. If you're interested in our website, just go to www.bd4blog.com. You can subscribe to our blog on there right on the front page. Just like on the podcast, we cover Yankees, Knicks, and MMA. Also on our website are the links to the different platforms for the podcast. Thanks so much.
Studio 69 Productions is a podcast production agency created by Leo Rodriguez to allow content creators to market their podcast. It's an online platform that will market your podcast or any other project that you're working on. Get in touch with Leo Rodriguez from Studio 69 Productions. You can find Studio 69 Productions on Instagram at Studio69NJ. Studio 69 Productions, where dreams are heard and born.
Thanks for listening to BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA, Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion.
Welcome back to the show, episode 688 of BD4. where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Don't forget to share these episodes on social media. Download this episode if you're listening to BD4 on Apple Podcasts. Also, give us a 5-star rating and review on there if you like the show. You can listen to us on there. You can watch us on YouTube and Spotify. You can also listen to us on Spotify. Appreciate you all tuning in. Let's get to our trivia to wrap this up. All right. The Braves and Twins are tied for the most home runs hit in a single season with 307. The Yankees are next with how many? The Braves and Twins are tied for the most home runs hit in a single season with 307. The Yankees are next with how many? All three of these feats happened in recent years, of course. But one final time, the Atlanta Braves and Minnesota Twins are tied for the most home runs hit in a single season with 307. The Yankees are next with how many? So let me know the answer wherever you can reach me. If you get the answer correct, I'll give you a shout out in the next episode, folks. That's it. The Yanks take 2 out of 3 in San Diego. Now they go to Anaheim to face the Angels. Hopefully, they can sweep that team. That's a really terrible team, especially without Mike Trout. So we'll see what happens. Thank you all. Appreciate you tuning in, and I'll see you in the next show. Don't forget to subscribe and all that. Appreciate it. See you soon. This episode was brought to you by Anchor.
Hey there! If you stayed the entire way through, we thank you immensely for it. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you come back for the next episode real soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, download these episodes, and share them with your friends as well. BD4 is a 5-star podcast simply because of you. And we'd like to keep it that way. Have a wonderful day. Go Yankees and go Knicks.